Hi there, my name is Mariana, welcome to my channel. Today we're going through my bookshelves, picking out a few books that I'm going to read and decide whether or not I'm bringing them to my new country. I'm moving countries in a few months. Actually, when I say in a few months, I think in 2 months. So I am going through my bookshelves and I need to decide which books I want to bring with me and which I don't. And there are a couple of books on these shelves that I'm hesitant to read. So my project for this video will be going through these bookshelves, picking out the books that I am not sure if I want to bring with me to my new country, and deciding their fate. Starting with this bookshelf right here. One is Mike Gale's The To-Do List. I did read this. I just want to reread it. That's why I have it here with me, but I'm not sure necessarily if I want to bring it with me. I don't know yet where I'm moving. I don't even have the apartment, but I'm stressed out over the apartment thing, so I am focusing on my shelves instead because I'm procrastinating. So I'm going to be reading this to figure out if I even want to bring this with me to my new country. The next one I have is In a Handful of Dust by Mindy McGinnis. This is the second book in Not a Drop to Drink. I read Not a Drop to Drink. I think it was a 3-star read, and that was years ago. I need to figure out if I even want to read this or not. If I don't even give it a chance and if I change my mind, then it's one less book on my shelf and I can just give it back to my sister. We have Make It Happen by Jordana Levin. It's basically like a manifesting thing, but it has actual exercises on how to manifest your dream life. And maybe I need this because I need to manifest an apartment for me and alleviate the stress of moving. This is another one. Mind you, did I say I only have 2 months to read? Now I could read first book in all these series, but I'm not going to because these series I actually want to read. Cinder, the Lunar Chronicles, I want to reread the whole thing. I'm not touching this. Now, if I go up here, we have Unhaul. I'm definitely reading just the first book. And if I don't finish it, the whole series can go. Iron King, I definitely want to reread. Unearthly, I want to reread. Okay, Incarcerate, I want to keep because of nostalgia. Wicked Fox. I want to reread Wicked Fox because I read it years ago. I think I rated it 3.5 stars or something. I want to definitely try it again to see if I want to even continue because I remember it being just very atmospheric. The Selection, I want to reread as well because I'm not expecting it to be amazing, but I'm not ready to part with it yet. Hush Hush, I'm keeping. I have more books on this shelf that I know that I want to try. We have Spellbound by Georgia Layton, which was in a Yalk goodie bag of 2024. So I'm definitely going to be reading this. We have Circle of Liars by Kate Francis. I'm reading this because I'm not sure about the genre or if I even want to keep this. And at any rate, I think it's a thriller or a mystery or something. And once I've read these, I never go back to reread, so I'm just going to give it to my sister in the end. The Dream Maker by Kira Nixon. I want to read this. That's the thing. I'm not going to prioritize it if I don't read this for this video. And it's signed. So I am reading this. Here we have Playing Dead by Robert Sheehan. I got this in a free little library. So I am going to try to read it. I think I have enough books to figure out if I want to read or not. Oh my god, I have 2 months. It's fine. And it's snowing outside. Oh my god. Alright, we have all of these books that I need to read for this video. Not just read. I can just try them and figure out if I want to read them or not. I'm not going to do I read a chapter of each. I'm going to try to actually read more than a chapter unless I can actually tell that these are not going to be my cup of tea or that I'm not invested or anything. But yeah, without further ado, let's get started. I think first one I might go for is Unhaul. Just because I really don't want to read this, but I need to reread it to see if I want to reread the entire series because I have fond memories of this. However, it's maybe too YA for me these days to read it. So I'll give it a try. I gave Unhaul a chance. I read 72 pages, 7 chapters, which is quite a decent amount, I would say. Now, this is a reread, and I've started reading it, well, I've read it years ago when I was a teenager. And this is YA, and lately I've been shifting from YA towards more adult books. But I've taken this from Slovenia, where my sister's books are, just to try it again. I wanted to see if they still hold up. Now that I'm moving countries, I have to be very careful with what I take so that I don't spend too much money on boxes and shipping stuff. And at 72 pages, I remember a lot of the things that are happening. So we follow this girl, Sophie Mercer, who gets shipped off to a boarding school for fairies, witches, warlocks, shifters, vampires. And her roommate is suspected to be a killer of her previous roommate. She is put in a room with a vampire, the only vampire at the school, and she finds out through other people that before Sophie came to the school, there was another girl named Holly, and Holly ended up dead with bite marks in her neck, drained of all blood. There are rumors going around that it's her roommate Jenna, but upon doing the autopsy, I guess, the investigator or whatever said that vampires are messy and this was too neat to be a vampire, so there is more mystery going on. Then you have these 3 other witches who are looking or trying to convince Sophie to join their coven, and Sophie is kind of creeped out by them. They are dark witches, and they tell Sophie that Sophie is also a dark witch, so she should join their coven because she's the only one that can, and they need 4 people. Apart from that, there is also a warlock named Archer, who is this typical tall, dark, bad boy. I remember bits and pieces here and there. And while I do feel a bit interested in reading this, I also think that I'm okay with just putting it down and giving it to my sister. So I'm gonna let it go because I think that the way I'm thinking of this series fondly is the way it should stay, because it's young adult. I don't lean towards young adult these days, and I feel like if I'm gonna read it, I'm not gonna enjoy it as much, which clearly now I'm not really enjoying it as much. So these 3 books can go back to my sister, and I'm fine with that. If I ever want to read it, I can buy the audiobook, or I can bring it later on when I go to Slovenia, and then I can just bring it with me. But for now, I'm pretty happy with letting these go. So I have this stack of books with me. Now, I've texted my sister to help me decide what book I should read next, and she came back with Circle of Liars. I have this arc that I received at Yolk in 2024. Again, I need to go through some of the Yolk books. I am really narrowing it down. I think I've read through most of them. But Yolk 2024 was filled with different genres that I usually... My book haul was varied from genres that I don't usually read, because I try to diversify my bookshelf in the way that I'm gonna try something new. However, it backfired because a lot of them were DNFs and unhauls. But I am going to try this one. It says 7 liars in the circle, only one of them can make it out alive. Trapped in an abandoned motel, 7 liars are caught up in a deadly circle of revenge. Do you dare to enter the circle of liars? You won't believe the secrets they're hiding. The addictive summer thriller that everyone will be talking about, from debut YA author Kate Francis, for fans of Karen M. McManus and Neil Lockhart. I'm not a big thriller girly, but this is why I'm doing this video. I want to give this a chance because I don't know if necessarily I want to bring it with me. Plus, if I read it now, thrillers are not usually books that I reread, so it's just one less book on my shelf. And I hope I like it, because then I can mark it as read and my sister can still get it. 91 pages into A Circle of Liars, this much. And so far, I think I read enough to tell you that I'm actually really enjoying it. So this is a bit of a check-in. What we know so far is there are 7 people who have won a luxury trip, but as they arrive to the destination, it is this motel that is rusty and abandoned, and basically there's a sign on the reception that they should check themselves in. And at first they're arguing and saying that this is for sure not their destination, it is wrong. Later on they find an envelope addressed to them confirming it's the correct destination. All 7 of them are accompanied by a bus driver who was hired to do this job, and so they have no choice but to stay there. However, things take a turn when the bus blows up and they're in the middle of nowhere with no escape, no bus, no self-service, And the envelope which was addressed to them was also a happy 1-year anniversary card, which it would mark the 1-year anniversary since their school burned down. And so they were a bit freaked. I'm not gonna spoil anything. I'm just trying to kind of set the scene. They find out there are a lot of cameras and microphones, so they're being watched. And at first they think it's a TV show. And then they get a message saying that they are playing this game. There is a circle around the motel. At one certain time in the morning, they need to send one person outside of the circle, and that one person will be shot dead. The person who they think is the most guilty. Anyway, this is where I am right now. This is up to this point is what I'm gonna tell you what it's about. Now we basically get introduced to the characters, and I'm really enjoying the way the introductions are being made, because I know there's quite a lot of characters, but they each feel like they have their own personality and they are very distinct. And we do have multiple point of views, but it's written in third person point of view. And I really want to know what happened on that day and how each and every person was implicated. What did they do to burn the school down? For one of them, it was already revealed that they sold the drugs to this one person that then decided to start a fire and kill everybody. But there must be more to the story. So yeah, this was released in July 2025. It's out now if you want to read it. I'm just now catching up. But I'm not really big on mystery or thrillers, but the way it's written, I'm really enjoying the setting and I'm enjoying the characters. So I hope the plot twist doesn't disappoint, but because I don't really read thrillers that often, I think that I will not be able to predict. Although, I have a couple of theories, and if I manage to predict at this point, I'm gonna be very disappointed. A couple of hours later, and I managed to finish it, the entire thing. My goodness, this is probably the best thriller I've read. As for the mystery, I guess you could predict who it was. Yeah, it is kind of predictable, but it's also not. I liked the plot twist. I really enjoyed this book. I don't know, there are mixed reviews about it, but I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm not a big thriller reader. I enjoyed the characters, each one of them. They had their own story, they had their own thing going on. And while their secrets I would like to have been a bit more juicy, they weren't. Like, they're fine. I think I'm gonna rate it 4 stars. It was decent, it was nice. Hi everyone, so I just came home from my friend's house. I started reading Spellbound. I read 13 pages and I wasn't particularly interested already in the book, but then as soon as I picked it up, I'm not really interested in a fairy tale retelling, so I'm just gonna give it to the friend that I was visiting today. I just brought it home because I wanted to use it for the video. Yeah, it's a Sleeping Beauty retelling. I really don't know much about it. I know that there's a twist to it. But yeah, I'm happy to let this one go. I wasn't really that interested in it in the first place. It was in a Yolk goodie bag in the year 2024. So it's just one of the Yolk books that I'm not interested in, and I will be happily giving it to my friend. Then I picked up Mike Gale's The To-Do List. And this one I already finished a few years ago. Like, this was the very first book I have ever owned, ever. Even before The Hunger Games, this was my first book. I read it way after The Hunger Games though. The Hunger Games, I would say, is my first English book that I've ever read that I've absolutely loved as well. So while this is my very first book that I've owned, I do have an attachment to it. I read 26 pages of it and I'm enjoying it. It's called The To-Do List by Mike Gale, and it's basically about this guy in his mid-30s having a bunch of things to do, expecting second child, and already having his first be 3.5 years old, and just feeling like his life is kind of unaccomplished. Like, he has a lot of things to do and just doesn't really have any motivation or desire to do it until one day he sits down and writes a 1,277 items to-do list, and then he gets challenged or challenges himself to complete these lists, these tasks. Some may take months, some may take weeks, some may take a short time, like oiling the hinges or losing weight. I'm gonna finish it. Oh, in the end we have an entire to-do list, all 1,000 something tasks. Oh, let's see one. Get rid of weeds from front path, balance checkbook, eat more fiber, stop missing appointments, finally take up mom's offer to teach me how to make rice and peas. So there's like a long list, 1,277 list of things that he needs to do, and it's just his journey into picking up a task and finishing it in a span of a year. So that's it. That's what I'm reading right now. So yesterday I started reading The To-Do List by Mike Gale. I am 87 pages into it. Now you can see the font is very tiny. It is very tiny. I would say, less than a third into it, but I'm enjoying it so far. I know that this is a reread and I've read it before, and the first time I read it, I wasn't really in the headspace of I really love reading adult books or memoirs, but now this time it feels like I'm actually relating to the author because I'm 27, I'm about to move, I have 1,000 things to do on my to-do list, and so it feels nice to be seen, but also if I feel motivated to actually tackle my to-do list. I've actually started a few things, and yeah, it's motivating me to get my life sorted out as well. So I'm enjoying it so far. I think I might take it with me to my next country. So I'm 151 pages into this book and I have 140 pages to go, which means I'm halfway done. And it was at around 100 pages when it started getting a bit too much. I don't like how chaotic this author is. It's stressing me out personally because he's the kind of person I guess I used to be, and that a lot of my family members used to be as well, which is, well, they still are, which is they start one thing and then they finish in the middle. They don't even finish. And then they move on to another project, then they move on to another, then they move on to another. Nothing ever gets finished. And it's indecisive, it's stressing me out. I don't like that, I really don't. I didn't realize that I become such a control freak and such a perfectionist until, well, maybe 2 years ago. But as a teenager, I was so much more relaxed and I guess so much more like the author that, I don't know, lately this would stress me out. I need to have everything in control. I need to tackle projects, although writing hasn't really been going that well, me calling myself out. I need to tackle projects and actually finish them, and no, this is stressing me out. So I need a palate cleanser. So I think I'm gonna start reading Wicked Fox by Kat Cho. The reason behind this book being on this list is because I only have this book and not The Vicious Spirits, which is the second book. I only read this book when, like, years ago. This book was a gift to me and I love this edition. It's so beautiful. I like that it's floppy. I remember reading it years ago. I liked it. It was atmospheric, but I think I rated it 3 stars. Currently, my only challenge that I foresee would be that it is YA. I don't know what my reluctance with YA lately is. I cannot find myself focusing or enjoying the book, but I will give this a chance again. Otherwise, it goes to my sister, and if I ever want it back again, I can just tell her and she will send it to me. Or I can go visit her anytime and I will pick it up. That's not the point. The point is me trying this book, seeing maybe I will enjoy it, just like I picked this up and I was enjoying it. Yeah, we will see what I think of this. I'm gonna be reading this and this at the same time, and then I'll check in whenever I can when I have more news or progress. I'm just reading so much. I'm reading currently my 11th book. I finished 10 books in January for different videos, different project ideas, and I feel kind of inspired. I'm glad I tackled this video idea because, again, I don't know what I'm gonna do with these books. These are the books I have left to read. This one I've started a little, and then we have these. Now, I've been thinking that I don't actually want to read all of these. Why am I forcing myself for no reason? The whole point was for me to decide whether I'm reading them or not. And I've decided, like, for 2 of these, at least 2 or 3 of these, I know what I'm gonna do. Why is my hair so shiny? My god. I know what I'm gonna do. And I don't want to read in a handful of dust. Not a Drop to Drink was a 3-star read. I'm happy to let this one go. Why am I forcing myself? I'm just gonna give it to my sister back. It's fine. Make it happen. It will actually take me take me time to sit down and do all this work. Time that I don't have, nor am I particularly invested in. So I'm gonna give it to my sister. Maybe she will enjoy it. But for me, if I'm gonna start manifesting stuff, I will do it in a different way. I will not do it through a book. So I don't think this is, I'm the audience for this. So these 2, I'm down. So now, the thing is, I like the idea of owning this book. It's very pretty, very nice on my shelf. I remember it being atmospheric. I don't know if I was reading it in audio or in physical. I don't remember. But also, it's too young. Not too young for me, but I know what kind of bookshelves I want to have. So I'm letting it go. As much as it pains me, it is a beautiful cover, beautiful book, beautiful edition. But I will be giving it back to my sister. Now these 3 books I'll put back and give them to my sister. That brings me to these 3. Yeah, this video is not the most exciting, I guess. It's not the most productive, but I'm clearing my shelves, and that's the point. I already knew when I chose these books that I do not necessarily want to bring them with me, so this video is basically just the push that I need. Now, I do want to try this, and I guess I want to try this. I don't know what to expect from The Dream Maker by Kira Nixon, but I want to try it. But right now, I think I'm in the mood for something else, so I might give this video a pause for like a week and just dive into some other books, some other genres, just as a palate cleanser, and then I'll be back when I'm feeling more ready to actually read. Okay, so after almost giving up on the to-do list and starting another book yesterday just to have a palate cleanser, I did end up finishing it today, a few seconds ago. I don't know, I rated 3 stars. The author kind of stresses me out sometimes because he seems so indecisive and like he's doing things a bit halfway, but yeah, he seems a bit all over the place. But at the same time, we're following the life of an author who is busy having 2 kids. One of them was born while writing, well, while the events of this book went on, and of course he would have everyday life tasks while also writing this book and getting the things done. So I know, but it's still stressing me out. I'm glad I reread it. I'm happy to give it to my sister this time around, because the first time I read it I was like not really sure, like I wanted to keep it and I kept it for years, but now I'm happy to finally let go and give it to my sister. Oh, also, I've had a few thoughts while now I'm putting this book in my bullet journal and marking it as read. His wife is so patient with him. She just holds down the fort so much that at this time, like at this point, it just seems like he's not really like she's mainly carrying the weight of the family, I think, which I know is not a fair assumption to make considering that we don't see the everyday life. But this guy just goes off to New York and she stays back home with the kids to get her a 12-pound mug, mind you, because he broke her previous one, and she really loved that mug and he wanted to do something nice for her. But leaving her back home with the kids instead of taking her with him, you know, it's things like that. Okay, I read 20 pages. This book is signed and I don't really want to give it to my sister, but I also don't feel like this book is for me. So I think, so a part of me really wants to keep it and put it on my shelf in hopes that I will go back to reading it one day. But realistically, I know that probably isn't going to happen. I'm gonna cut out the middleman and I'm just gonna give it to my sister, because I don't think I will ever read it. It took me a long time to like even pick it up for a video. So we only have 1 book left. Playing Dead by Robert Sheehan. I'm gonna see. I know nothing about this book, mind you. I just picked it up at a free little shop, and yeah, we'll see how I get on. I'll probably start reading it tomorrow though, because I need to go to sleep tomorrow. I am working, so I might not make a lot of progress. Hopefully next time you see me, not too much time has passed. Today is January 19th. And since I only have this 1 book left, I'm gonna be honest, this video is not as successful as I thought it would be. I only finished 2 books, but I did clear out my shelves, and I'm 1 book away from finishing this video, and I'm so excited. That being said, just because I'm 1 book away and so close, it doesn't mean that I'm just gonna not read this book. I will give it a chance, just like I did with others. Whether that is 20 pages, 1 chapter, or perhaps the entire book, we will see. Usually how I decide whether to DNF or not is just, I can tell pretty much from the beginning, I would say, like from the writing style to the mood to the like atmosphere, or just in general the characters. I can pretty much tell from the beginning if I'm gonna like a book or not. And usually I'm not wrong in DNFing, because my reading moods are really particular. So for this one, I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea if I'm gonna like it or not. I have a feeling my camera's battery is about to die just as I'm about to finish off this video. I read 20 pages of Playing Dead by Robert Sheehan, and don't get me wrong, it's nice to read about Ireland and an Irish actor, and you know, there are bits and pieces here being discussed about places in Ireland that I've been, because obviously he's from there. But then it's also a little bit about his life and how he was really unhappy finding himself in the middle of a snowstorm in Portland, constantly keeping busy, filming, all of that. He never took the time to sit down and look inward and meditate or whatever, because he was so afraid of the noise and didn't want to be alone. And he always, whenever he had free time, always spent it with someone or kept busy just so that he wouldn't have to think, because thinking made him anxious. That's how far I came. Now, well, actually, I read a bit further, and the camera's blinking, but I decided that I don't really want to read about meditation because I like meditation. I like doing the act of meditating. However, actually like reading about it is a bit boring to me. So I'm gonna give this to my sister. I hope she enjoys it. Now, was this video challenge successful in terms of reading all the books? No. Was it successful in terms of clearing out my bookshelf? Yes, it was. And it's January 21, so I still have 2 months left if I want to do it again with other books, which I don't. I don't have any other books that I want to read. But to give you a bit of a recap, these are the books that I managed to get through. Playing Dead, that was a pass. This I'm giving to my sister that I might one day pick up. Then we have Wicked Fox, a book that I read years ago, liked it, might be back some other time, I don't know, depending if the mood hits. But this is the one I'm really sad about giving to my sister. However, I know that my space is limited when bringing these books. Make it happen, it's fine. My sister can make it happen. In a Handful of Dust, book 2. Book 1 was not a drop to drink, and it was a 3-star read. Then Unhaul, because I'm not reading the first book, there's no point in keeping the other 2, so I'm giving it to my sister. However, I remember these books being like, they broke me. I violently sobbed when I read book 3. I don't know. I can't tell you why. I know why, but it's gonna be a major spoiler. So, and then Spellbound, which I have no interest in reading. And the only 2 that I finished, Mark Gale's The To-Do List, which I think I rated 3.5. And Circle of Liars, which I read in one sitting, and I think I rated 4 stars. I really enjoyed this one. I did not think I would enjoy it. I think this was one of those books where I was just like, I don't think I want to read this. I want to give it to my sister. But unexpectedly loved it. I kind of really want to reread it. What? That is insane. So yeah, to finish this video off, this is my stack of books that I'm getting rid of. Well, most of these. Thank you for watching. I have so many video projects in the works right now, and I can't even express how many. So many. So please subscribe if you like these videos. So many vlogs. Yeah, I hope you enjoy. I'll see you soon.